Welcome back to the second episode of the Canyonwood Devlog. I'm Nick Lives, one of 4 developers at Dell Interactive, and I'm here to show you what we've been working on this month. So if this is your first time coming by one of these devlogs, we are making a summer camp life sim, or life simulator, called Camp Canyonwood. That's what we're working on, and that's what I'm here to show you today. So if you like the sound of that, I highly encourage you to go and wishlist our game on Steam. I also encourage you to subscribe and to like and to push all those other buttons that you're supposed to push for algorithms. We all need to appease the algorithms whenever we can. So this month, I would say that we focused most on adding progression to the game. So what does that mean? Well, so far, we've recently added the ability to earn money, but now we realize we don't have anything to spend money on. In our case, the easiest, most obvious direction we could start with would be the tool system. So we have tools for you to equip for your character and for the campers. Until now, the campers have all come pre-equipped with an axe. So now we have removed the axes from their inventories, and we have decided to make you earn that ability. We needed, first and foremost, for you to be able to buy axes. We don't have any sort of purchasing interface as of yet. And so this month we've decided to add that in. We started with the most basic implementation with a very bare bones component we could throw on any character that would allow you to just immediately purchase a single item from them upon interacting with them. The second thing we needed to allow for equipping campers with axes after you bought one was to be able to actually interact with their inventories. So every character entity in our game holds the same sort of base class inventory script, and that has all the same functionality as yours. With that, we needed a way to interact with it. A while back, we actually created some mock-ups to eventually address this problem of being able to interact with the camper inventory. We snap back to now, and we are actually going to try to implement it. So, upon interacting with a camper, we wanted to be able to open up this little nice window of options of interaction. So you can browse through their inventory, and as you can see here, Billy is carrying nothing on them. Click on something from your inventory, and it will appear in theirs. Or if you want it back, you can click on it in their inventory. Super simple, but it seems to work pretty well, and through what limited testing we have done, we have definitely noticed that it's easy for people to pick up on. So we were able to get this working, but now we can equip campers. Once we implemented this system, it actually turned out to be fairly simple to turn our trading window into a buying and selling window for merchant type NPCs. So now we have a full-fledged buying and selling interface, which works basically identically to the trading interface with kids, although in this case, everything costs money, and you'll actually gain money from giving something to them. Right now, everything is sold and bought at the exact same price. We're being a little more generous to start with, and because it's easier to code, so that's a boon. You'll notice here that we have a new NPC. This is Wick. Wick here is Woodpecker. I've noticed some folks in the comments and from our forum post on TigSource have mentioned that they like our animation style, which, thank you. I figured now is as good a time as any to show you exactly how that works and how our characters are rigged up. As I created Wick here, you can see that their assets are all kind of separate and exported out as separate little assets and then assembled in engine. And the reason we do this is because characters all actually share the same base rig, so that anytime we add a new animation for one of them, they all gain the ability to do that same thing. One aspect of our game that we struggled with at the start was contending with the workload that would come with a top-down game, animation-wise. Most games in this vein sort of have to create brand new assets and animations for the up, down, left, and right character perspectives for their animations. So the way we resolved this problem is instead of creating custom assets and animations for up, down, left, and right, we created one character rig that was capable of all of them using masking. So masking allows us to just cover up the reality of what's happening here. Their face just happens to be behind a mask that slides around to the left and to the right, and creates the illusion that they are a three-dimensional round little bird person. The system definitely does come with some constraints where we were more than willing to accept them as an exchange for reducing the workload for character animation. Animation-wise, it can definitely look, to put it generously, awkward. So because every character only has one animation for every perspective, it just doesn't always look as correct for some perspectives as others. But you know, that little bit of jank, I think people have come to expect from games of our budget and our size. And so I'd like to think it just adds to the charm. Moving on, we have also recently added a few new activities to the game. Activities are going to be kind of the bread and butter of the game as far as the moment-to-moment goes. And so we just want to make sure we try to always add more whenever we can. So one of those is being able to forage berries. Campers were previously already able to forage little weeds on the ground and dandelions. Really, it was very, very simple to just make essentially dandelions that are shaped like bushes and give out berries instead of little flowery looking weed things. And in this case, you can actually see that we have a bush that has good berries, and we have bad berries. In other words, poison berries. If the kids pick these, they will immediately pass out. Moving on. Something else we have implemented recently is, let's go ahead and give this kid a pickaxe, is pickaxes and mining or smashing, as there is nothing to actually mine from these rocks right now. They don't give out any sort of resource. But if you don't like having giant rocks in your camp, you can indeed smash them to pieces, and then they'll go away there. It basically uses the exact same logic as our tree chopping activity, and even the same animations. Another activity we have implemented recently is the ability to find shiny rocks in little holes in the ground. So we added these little pockets of dirt in the ground that kids will naturally just go and fiddle around with if they're bored and they're wandering. And they'll find rocks inside. Just neat little rocks. Right now, they don't actually pick them up and put them in their inventory yet. We're still working on that, but soon enough, we hope that kids will just start to fill their pockets with random crap that they find. One other activity that we have recently added is fishing. You can go fishing, but you may not be able to catch fish yet. I'm uncertain. Next up, I would like to show off another feature we've been working on recently. So, as you can see here, we have these new little status symbols that showcase the 4 main stats that drive campers. Previously, this is all still existing just behind the scenes, but now we actually display it to the players upon interacting with a kid. So you can see they have a heart, which indicates their health. We have a little lightning bolt that indicates their current energy level. And we have these other 2, which are a little more abstract and definitely took some work to figure out what symbols to use for them. But we have this little house, which means safety. Safety basically means how scared a kid is, or rather how not scared they are. So they have a full safety bar right now, so they're fine. But if they run into a bear or bees or anything like that, that'll drain their safety pretty quick, at which point they'll activate their fight or flight response. For some kids, it's passing out when they get scared. For other kids, they freak out and they just start running in random directions. And eventually, some kids will put up a fight response. And finally, we have the star here, which indicates a background stat we call stimulation. If it's low, they're bored. If it's high, they're having a great time. They're very stimulated. I settled on a star for this icon for a few reasons. For one, I actually originally tried to do this little light bulb icon, but anytime I would show this little light bulb icon to people, nobody knew it was a light bulb. Everybody thought it was like a keyhole. Further, a star might actually be pretty fitting for this stat, because eventually we plan to have a star rating system for your camps at the end of every summer. Keeping a kid safe is all well and good, but if they're not having fun as well, they're very unlikely to say that they had a good time. You can also see that we have added the same sort of icons for the player up in the upper right corner. We figured it would make the most sense for them to just have the more basic sort of stats. Specifically energy, which we do now have and does dwindle, and health, which just sort of is sensible. So next up, campers now have new particle effects to show off, I don't know, what do you call it, states, I guess, that they could be in. So until now, we have not had any great way to show that a kid has gotten hurt. We obviously don't want to be very violent about it, and so we have recently decided to opt for these sort of cartoony stars that burst from them when they pass out, to show that this is distinct from sleeping. We have added these little swirly effects here that I think just are a nice cartoon indicator of being passed out. One very big step that we were attempting to take this month was saving. The world state is expected to remain consistent between play sessions. So there's just a lot that we knew we were going to have to save and keep track of. We figured it's going to be complex enough as is. We may as well save ourselves some of the brain work by investing in some tools. So we found Easy Save, an asset on the Unity asset store that came very well reviewed. So we invested in that and started implementing saving using this new tool. Things like money and the date save pretty easy because they are indeed just numbers. We're tying saving right now to going to sleep right now, just because it sort of fits with what you've come to expect from the life sim genre. And because it does also simplify what exactly we need to save. So sleeping in the bed will indeed save. Loading right now, we have just hooked up to a button press. Let's change my my inventory. Let's give myself a bunch of money, right? Let's sell off everything. I've got $60. We'll go ahead and load. And there we go. I have my inventory back, and I'm back to $0. I seem to have double my inventory back. So as mentioned, a work in progress, this whole system is. And we've also, of course, loaded an entirely new batch of the exact same kids. This is definitely something we expect to take a lot of time in the long run. So we're just going to keep hacking away at it, but it's coming along. When we have saving, when we have all the most basic things, being able to save about the world state, we come that much closer to being able to actually hand this off to other players and being able to test how the game's mechanics hold up over longer periods of time. To end things off, we also finally decided to just do one last little kind of more fun thing. Decided to create our first placeable item. So all of our other items up until now have been these little tools. And now we have a placeable item in the form of a fence. So we actually did have this functionality before the very first devlog episode. And it would only come up, this little building interface would come up just whenever you hit a certain button. But we tied it, instead of to a button press, to an inventory slot. So, you know, if you're, all you have to do to enter build mode is go to something that you can build and you'll automatically jump into it. With the logic that we use to implement this buildable, we'll be able to create many, many more. And yeah, thank you for watching. That's the summary. That's what we've been doing this month. We're gonna keep hacking away at it. Make sure to wishlist the game on Steam if you like what you've seen. And if you would like to see where we take this game, I highly encourage you to like this video, subscribe to the video channel, have a hunky-dory day, take a big nap. You deserve it.